My name is Tom, a 35-year-old man. I'm very happy now, but I have a very dramatic past. That's why I want everyone to hear about that time. I have a brilliant younger brother named Nick. Unlike me, he was very smart and always got perfect scores in elementary school without studying at all. Our parents were very hopeful that he could get into one of the prestigious private middle schools in the state. On the other hand, I didn't study well and scored below average no matter how hard I studied. Even though I was trying, my grades didn't improve much, and I always scored around 50 in math. Oh, Nick is so smart, so why is your brother so dumb? If he scores like this in elementary math, he'll be hopeless by the time he gets to middle school. It's just pathetic. But I'm trying my best. I scored 70 in social studies. How can you say you did well with scores like this? Stop being stupid. If you were trying, you'd definitely get a perfect score. Maybe you should take a lesson from Nick. That's not fair. Ha, you're getting scolded. You're really dumb, bro. Even I can solve these problems. Are you really in 6th grade? Maybe you should start over from 1st grade? My mother was always angry when she saw my test results. I didn't want to show her my test papers, but if I didn't, she'd get furious, so I had no choice. And I was really annoyed with my brother for mocking me. He was spoiled by our parents and acted all high and mighty. He didn't respect me at all and only thought about making fun of me. To me, he wasn't cute at all, and I wished he would disappear. However, it seemed like I was the one who wasn't needed in this house. Both my mom and dad said things like it would be better if I wasn't around, and it hurt me deeply as a child. Then, I went to middle school. The studies were hard, but I made some good friends, so I was fairly content. I particularly started hanging out a lot with a classmate named Jake. His family was a single-parent household, and they lived quite modestly. But it was clear that his mom loved him, and I was a bit envious. Jake's mom, even when tired, would always offer me snacks when I visited. They weren't expensive, but I was really grateful. She was always smiling and treated everyone equally. I thought she was very different from my parents. My parents ran a business, with my dad as the president and my mom handling the office work. So I was the son of a president, but I never felt loved. I remembered growing up fairly well off, but I thought they spent more money on my brother. For instance, there was a small difference when it came to snacks for field trips. When the school allowed us to buy snacks up to $3, I got a dollar bill from my mom. But my brother got $10. I thought I was not allowed to buy so many snacks, but my brother didn't seem to care. He handed out snacks to everyone in class, enjoying being the king. Growing up with such favoritism, I realized early on that money isn't everything when it comes to happiness. Then, during the summer vacation of my 3rd year in middle school, my mom told me something shocking. I wanted to improve my weak subjects, math and science, so I planned to attend a summer course at a tutoring center my friend went to. Mom, I need a favor. There's a summer course at the tutoring center by the station. They said you don't have to be a regular student to attend the course. If you take 5 subjects, you get a discount. What? A summer course? Yeah, I'm bad at math and science. I was going to take just those 2 subjects, but my friend told me it's cheaper to take all 5 subjects. We don't have money for that. Spending money on you is a waste when we could spend it on Nick. Please, let me go. I'll study hard. You're going to drop out of school and work, so you don't need to study. Congratulations, now you're free from your weak subjects. Wait. What do you mean? It means you're going to drop out of school and work for our company. Don't you get it? Spending time and money on high school for you is a waste. Instead, you should work hard. No, I want to go to high school too. Hey bro, don't be so selfish. You're making mom upset. You're not that smart anyway, so middle school is good enough for you. You're just a failure. So you should work for us. Nick, you. Oh, are you gonna do something to me? Scary. Are you gonna try something on your little brother? Enough. I got so upset, I slammed the living room door and went back to my room. I was devastated by what mom said and humiliated by my brother. I couldn't even decide my own future, and I couldn't stop the tears from flowing. Dad was strict and would yell at me for any small mistakes. Looking back, I think our family was dysfunctional and my parents were toxic. But as a kid, all I could do was cry. With growing hatred towards my brother and mistrust towards my parents, winter came on my third year of middle school. Everyone was studying hard for high school entrance exams. But I knew it was too late for me, so I just stared blankly at the clouds. "Hey, I heard you're gonna drop out and work?" "Yeah, my parents want me to join their company." "Well, your dad is the president." "Yeah, but they told me I wasn't worth sending to high school, that it would be a waste of money." "That's tough." I thought about working right away to help my mom. She pushed herself too hard and got sick. "What? Is your mom okay?" "The doctor told her not to strain herself. Her heart isn't good." "That's terrible." "Tom, don't look so sad. Let's show them what we can do. Some people look down on us for dropping out, so let's prove them wrong. Let's work hard and believe that we'll be rewarded someday." "You're right. Sorry, I shouldn't act like I'm the only one with problems. Everyone has their own struggles. I know it's tough for you too. But don't give up, no matter what." "Yeah, I'll keep fighting." "You too, Jake." Even though Jake was in a tough situation, he encouraged me, and I felt grateful. I had always felt like I was the only one suffering, and it made me a bit ashamed. Determined not to be outdone by Jake, I decided to work harder and stay positive. Maybe someday, good things would come my way too. My parents still treated me coldly and spoiled my brother, but I decided to ignore it. When I stopped reacting to my brother's annoying comments, he eventually stopped bothering me. He probably thought it was no fun if I didn't respond. In April, I started working at my parents' company as a new middle school graduate. My dad was harsh, treating me like a rag and giving me all the tough tasks. He dumped all the work that other employees used to do on me. When I asked him questions, he'd just yell at me. "You still don't get it? How many times do I have to teach you, you idiot?" But no excuses. "This is why you're useless. Just finish the job and get back to work." "Yes. How could someone like you be my son? Nick is smart and good-looking, a masterpiece. You're just a defective product, like this." Dad held up a defective product and showed it to me. Then he threw it in the trash. It felt like he was throwing me away. Years passed. I turned 30. Nick graduated from a prestigious private middle and high school and went to a good university. But he didn't look for a job and just stayed home. To me, he was just an unemployed college graduate. "I'm studying to make money with stocks, so I don't need to work." But hey, there's no guarantee it'll work, right? "Nah, with my brains, it'll be a piece of cake." "Just stay quiet, bro." "Oh, I see." My brother stayed like that, lazing around at home even after graduating from college. But my parents didn't scold him, they just said, "He'll make it big someday," sounding carefree. I doubted that would ever happen, but saying anything to them was useless. So, I decided not to warn my parents. One morning, I was working at the company with my parents. At 30, I felt my age was catching up as I tackled the tough tasks. All of a sudden, I heard a crash and turned to see where the sound came from. I saw my dad had collapsed. "Dad! Dad! Dear! Help! No! Call an ambulance!" We called an ambulance immediately, but my dad passed away shortly after arriving at the hospital. It was a heart attack. Dad had been overweight and had been told he had poor heart health, but he continued his unhealthy habits. That's probably why he had a massive heart attack and died. Mom cried loudly, and my brother, who rushed over, turned pale. But I strangely didn't feel sad. I felt relieved that one thing that tied me down was gone. Maybe I'm an ungrateful person, but only someone raised by toxic parents would understand. Even during the funeral, I didn't feel sad at all. Because of that, my mom berated me, calling me the worst son. After 1 week, Mom called me and my brother. "Sit down, I need to talk to you." "Okay. All right. With your father gone, we need to think about the company. Nick, you'll take over the company. Your useless brother is fired as of today." "What? Got it?" Nick will lead the company from now on. But I want to keep studying stocks. I'm begging you, only you can be the president. I can't refuse if you ask like that, Mom. But can I study stocks when I have free time? Of course. Wait a minute. I've dedicated myself to this company. And now you're firing me and making Nick the new president? That's unfair. What? Did you think you could be the president? You only have a middle school education, there's no way you can be the president. Don't make me laugh. A middle school education, but you and Dad were the ones who made me give up high school. It's unfair to mock me for that. How dare you talk to me like that? I gave birth to you, how can you say such things to me? But enough, you're leaving this house. We don't need you. I was in shock from everything she said. I had worked tirelessly for the company, like a worker ant, and this was how I was treated. And I couldn't stand her saying she gave birth to me. Even at my age, I didn't want to think like a child, but I thought it was wrong for parents to say I gave birth to you or I raised you. Having children is a form of self-satisfaction, so I didn't like the condescending "I did this for you" attitude. If I ever have kids, I wouldn't want to say things like that to them. After being told so much by my mom, I decided I would leave the house. I went back to my room, packed my things, and decided to take only the essentials. I had nowhere specific to go, but I figured I could stay at a business hotel while looking for an apartment. Leaving the house, I checked into a nearby business hotel. The space without my mom and brother felt peaceful. There was no one to bother me or say mean things. As I lounged in my room, I thought about my classmate, Jake. I wonder how he's doing. I hadn't been in touch for a long time, so I gave him a call. Hey, Jake. How's it going over there? Well, the factory I was working at just shut down. What? Actually, my dad passed away, and I got kicked out of the company afterward. Wait, your dad died? Yeah, but strangely, I didn't feel sad. Does that make me a bad son? Well, you said your parents always disliked you and treated you unfairly, maybe it's understandable. So, what did you do after getting kicked out? My mom said she was giving the company to my brother and fired me. Then she kicked me out of the house too. But I guess it's time I left anyway. I see. Hey, why don't we start something together? Ha! Let's build something from scratch, our own company. But can we really do that? Yeah, let's do it. So, I called Jake to a cafe. We talked about many things there. Jake said that if our company made a big profit, it would really help him out. His mom still wasn't in good health, so he needed to work to support her. Fortunately, I had a decent amount of money saved, so we made plans. First, we secured a place to live. We consulted a lawyer Jake knew and got everything in order. We worked quickly, and soon our company was established. My company was right across the street from my family's company. With a big, flashy sign, my mom and brother were shocked to see me entering and exiting the building. Are you the one renting this place? Yeah, that's right. But isn't the rent here really high? We have raised enough funds, so we can afford it. How did you get the money? From YouTube. I posted stories about toxic parents, and they got a lot of views. Wait, are you talking about me? Maybe. This huge sign, and this place was featured in an interview before, the industry is. Yeah, it's a comics publishing company. I knew it. I'm not good at writing or drawing, but I'm confident in coming up with ideas. I always loved comics as a kid and wanted to be a comics artist, but my drawing skills were terrible. Then I thought about becoming a novelist, but I didn't have a knack for writing either. No matter how hard I tried, my writing was at an elementary school level. But I was good at coming up with ideas, so I was always the one coming up ideas for drama class. I wanted to pursue a creative career and go to an art school, but I had to drop out of middle school and gave up. But I realized that academic background doesn't matter. My favorite YouTuber, who does illustrations, also dropped out of middle school, so I knew it was possible even without a diploma. But I didn't want to become a YouTuber myself, so I posted scandalous content just to raise funds, and it got some traction. There were troll comments and condescending remarks, but I thought, they must have a lot of free time, thanks for watching, and kept posting. With the funds I earned, I started a comics publishing company. Even though my company was a comics publisher, it was different from boys or girls comics. We specialized in what are called ladies comics, which are popular among housewives. Usually, women would come up with the stories, or the writers would create them from scratch, but most of our works were based on my ideas. When it got out that a man was coming up with these dramatic, female-oriented storylines, it attracted media attention. Although I didn't show my face, the company quickly became famous. Our debut hit, Abandoned by Toxic Parents, Jessica's Revenge, was a huge success. The story began with the protagonist, Jessica, working after dropping out of middle school and being exploited by her parents. And it resonated deeply with readers. You're the president of this company? So, you were behind those weird comics? Yeah, they're my passionate creations. You jerk. You made me the evil sister character. I never said the character was based on you. It's not defamation or slander. Don't play dumb. Anyone who sees it can tell it's me. I didn't make it that obvious, so no one knows it's you. Besides, shouldn't you be the one worrying about being sued for defamation and slander? What do you mean? Thanks for leaving those hateful comments on my YouTube channel with your real name. I've already filed a disclosure request. Wait, please. I'm glad I have a lawyer friend, thanks to Jake. Friends are invaluable. No way, what will happen to me? I don't know. You'll probably be held accountable. That's all I know. My brother didn't know it was my channel and would smugly leave comments, using offensive language and saying things like, "The uploader is an idiot." I was going to ignore it, but I decided to teach him a lesson and filed a disclosure request. People who think they can do whatever they want in an anonymous world are in the wrong. My brother turned pale and started trembling. I thought he might even wet himself, and I couldn't help but smile. Well, I have a meeting with a comics artist, so I'll get going. Wait. See you, I have to go make even more money. I'm so busy. I ignored my mother and went into the office. Jake and I had a meeting with a comics artist. She was a new artist but was great at drawing dramatic scenes, so I suggested the idea for her next project. Tom, you're really good at coming up with ideas. I struggle with that, so I look up to you. But I can't draw or write well, so I rely on the comics artists. Even the YouTube content was outsourced to writers. That channel really got a lot of attention. People love dramatic stories, huh? Yeah, it shows how stressed people are these days. Those who love dramatic stories might be dealing with stress in their personal lives. It's our job to help them release that stress. Modern life is definitely stressful. Jake, you've been a big help. You're great at catching details and spotting typos quickly. Well, I did work at a printing factory. I'm a big picture person, so I'm not good with details. That's why I'm not great at spotting typos, but Jake makes up for that. Since Jake used to work at a printing factory, he's really good at finding typos and mistakes. So far, we haven't had any misprints. If we did, it would have been a disservice to our readers. Our publishing house is still small, so to build trust, we need to accumulate a track record steadily. That's why we put a lot of care into our work, making sure there are no mistakes in our comics. Since then, my brother had to face the consequences. He was fined for both defamation and slander. The amount wasn't significant, but my brother couldn't pay and begged for forgiveness on his knees. That idiot lost a lot of money in failed stock investments. I had no intention of forgiving him, so I told him if begging worked, we wouldn't need the police or lawyers. Eventually, our family company went bankrupt. It was because my brother used the company's funds for his stock investments. If he hadn't done such stupid things, this wouldn't have happened, but I had no obligation to help him anymore. I decided to live as if I had no family. But at 33, I had a significant encounter. I was looking for new comics artists, and a 28-year-old woman came to us. She had sent her work to various publishers but hadn't received any responses. She had felt uneasy about creating dramatic ladies' comics, but after reading our works, she wanted to give it a try. Our works weren't just about revenge. The key point was that the protagonist ended up happy. It was essentially a Cinderella story, and these types of comics were becoming popular. I didn't watch much drama, But I heard that Korean dramas often followed this pattern. Korean cosmetics, idols, and dramas were trending among women in their 20s. So, I started studying Korean dramas. They turned out to be quite useful, and I came up with the idea for The Ugly Duckling Who Became a Princess After Plastic Surgery. Sure, since Korean cosmetic surgery and makeup are famous, having the protagonist transform in Korea works well. Yeah, I thought it would be interesting if everyone treated her differently when she returned to the States. I want a scene where everyone turns to look at her. I see, she becomes so beautiful that people do a double take. At the beginning, she should be portrayed as terribly ugly, to the point of being pitiable. But her personality is kind and good-hearted. Understood. The bullies should be average-looking. Not ugly, but not particularly pretty either. Oh, and the protagonist should also have liposuction. Oh, I know people who went to Korea for liposuction too. Then she could become fabulously fit. She could become a legendary hostess and earn a lot of money. Then, her mean former classmates could come in as customers. That sounds great. But she doesn't reveal her identity as they hit on her without realizing who she is. How about that? That's a great idea, Jake. It's really interesting. Thanks. Do you think we could add some mature scenes? This is aimed at women in their 30s. Sure, something for working women who are tired from their jobs? Exactly, women who feel frustrated and, by reading the conclusion, feel inspired to keep going. Not just revenge, but the protagonist achieving happiness on her own. Got it. I'll give it a try. The artist, Emily, was excited and created The Ugly Duckling Who Became a Princess After Plastic Surgery. The kind but extremely unattractive protagonist, Sarah, is a bullied girl. Not only is she ugly, but she's also chubby, so she's constantly mocked by her classmates in high school. She is despised by the boys, and when she confesses her love to a boy by writing a letter, he threw it away. Devastated, Sarah works hard and travels to Korea alone. There, she undergoes full-body plastic surgery. She gets liposuction, changes her nose, eyes, and jaw, and transforms into a stunning beauty. Upon her return to the States, she is so beautiful that people do a double take at the airport. Sarah leverages her beauty to become the top hostess in no time. She has interactions with her former classmates and eventually meets her true love. The comics became a bestseller, and our small publishing company grew significantly. Eventually, the comics was adapted into a TV drama, with a famous actress playing Sarah. They used special effects to depict her ugly phase and her beautiful hostess phase. I treated Emily to a meal to thank her for her hard work. Emily enjoyed spending time with me, and I was glad that I asked her out. We began to go on more dates and got to know each other better. The more I got to know Emily, the more I wanted to confess my feelings to her. However, I was a high school dropout. Emily had graduated from an art university, and I thought she wouldn't be interested in someone like me. But I decided to take the plunge and confess. Jake encouraged me, saying if I liked her, I should go for it, which gave me the courage. Emily, there's something I want to tell you. What is it? I want you to seriously consider our future together. Are you saying that you are thinking about marriage? Yes, I'm a middle school dropout without much education. But I want to be with you from now on. I can't lie to myself anymore. Emily, I would love to marry you in the future. So please date me seriously. Thank you. I've been wanting the same thing. What? I've been happy to be more than just work partners with you. Emily gladly accepted my proposal. I felt relieved that I had expressed my feelings. Emily didn't mind that I was a middle school dropout and said that everyone has their own path in life. I was thrilled and grateful that Emily was my girlfriend. Then we had our wedding. I was 34 at the time. My parents and brother didn't come to the wedding. But Jake, my business partner and good friend, celebrated with us, and so did our employees. Most importantly, I was happy to be accepted by Emily's parents. Even after marrying me, Emily continued to work hard as a comics artist. Though she struggled with coming up with ideas, her artwork was excellent. She drew captivating images, and I thought she had immense talent. Many works were created with my story ideas and Emily's drawings. Jake also managed other artists and nurtured many of them. Our company grew steadily and became well known in the ladies' comics market. Just before my 35th birthday, Emily seemed unwell. I thought it might have been something she ate, but then she said, "Actually, I've been told I'm expecting." "What?" "We're having a baby." "You're going to be a father." "Me, a father?" "Yes, you're going to be a dad." "I'm so happy." "That's amazing." "Our child." Overwhelmed with emotion, I lifted Emily up. I put my ear to her stomach. I couldn't hear anything yet, but I imagined the baby growing and moving inside her. I was excited to meet our child and looked forward to it every day. Then, when I was 35, Emily went into labor. Emily gave her all and delivered a healthy baby boy. I couldn't believe such a beautiful little being existed, and I held him with tears streaming down my face. From now on, my life wasn't just my own anymore. I had to live my best for my wife, Emily, and our son. No matter what hardships came our way, I knew I could endure them for their sake. This was my determination as a man and my pride as a father. Even though I grew up with toxic parents, I worried whether I could truly show love to my child, but I think I'm doing okay. Taking care of a child is definitely challenging, but watching him grow each day fills me with love. I never understood why my parents treated my brother and me so differently. Sure, my brother was smarter and more charming, and they probably found him more likable. But even if we have another child, I know I could never abandon one over the other, even if one seemed less capable. I'll use my parents as an example of what not to do and strive to be the best parent I can be. Since we both work, Emily and I plan to support each other in raising our child. Jake also found a girlfriend, and they're planning to get married soon. I hope for a world where those who endure hardships are eventually rewarded.
Please, I beg you, just give some soup to my little sister at least. I'm so hungry. In the bone-chilling cold, two little girls clutching a 10-cent coin stood in front of my store. Due to urban development, my shop, which had almost no customers left, was eerily empty of customers, especially in this cold. I was just about to close for the day when this happened. Upon seeing the little girls, Emily hastily brought them inside and said to me, "Let's feed them a lot." Yeah, you're right. After all, no customers were coming anyway. We had surplus ingredients. We decided to treat them to a feast. At that time, I had no idea that these little ones would bring a ray of hope to my small, struggling restaurant. My name is Alex, 30 years old. Together with my wife, Emily, I run this small restaurant. When we first opened, we had a good number of customers, and their smiles filled our restaurant. But now, those bustling days are just a distant memory. The tide of time is always cruel. As urban development gradually advanced around us, our customers began to dwindle. Emily, let's finish for today. Okay, did we have some customers today? Well, somewhat, but still not like when we first opened. Now, our sales are nowhere near what they were at the beginning. We've been in a slump for quite some time. I'm confident in our food, so most people who do come tend to become regulars. But the fundamental problem is that not many people come in the first place. I sighed. Seeing this, Emily gently placed her hand on my shoulder. But there are customers who smile because of your cooking. That's the most encouraging thing for us, right? Yeah, you're right, as always, Emily. The exterior of our restaurant looks quaint, to put it nicely, but frankly, it's quite worn down, which particularly deters the younger crowd. But even if we wanted to change the exterior, we'd need funds. With our almost non-existent revenue, affording renovation costs is out of the question. We tried distributing flyers and reaching out to people to improve foot traffic, but these efforts seem to have little to no effect. If this continues, we might have to close down. Did you say something? She didn't catch my murmured words and tilted her head in confusion. Seeing that, I gave her a smile and, feeling a bit down, tried to shift my mood by talking to Emily. Emily, let's think of a new menu to attract more people. Yes, let's do our best. Though I knew coming up with a new menu wouldn't necessarily bring in more customers, it was all we could do in our current situation. Then one day, it was so cold that it felt like it might snow at any moment. Due to the cold, or perhaps because the place was usually deserted, we had almost no customers that day, either. Shall we close up for today? Let's have something warm to eat. Yeah, it's really cold today. Shivering, I saw Emily chuckle at my reaction. I'll start preparing to close. Wait, I'll help. Then, let's do it together. As Emily walked towards the entrance, I called out to her, and she turned around to wait for me. I jogged up to her side and opened the door. And then, we finally noticed the presence beyond the door. Wait. Oh. There stood two little girls, young and small. Their cheeks, battered by the icy wind, were so red it hurt just to look at them. Clutched in their numb hands was a single 10-cent coin. Are you okay? What happened? Startled by their appearance, Emily rapidly fired off questions. They, startled by Emily's voice, shuddered slightly but eventually spoke up. Please, just some soup for my sister at least. The slightly taller girl must be the older sister. She was holding her younger one's hand while extending a 10-cent coin towards us with her other hand. I'm so hungry. The younger sister, trembling, repeated those words over and over. It was too heart-wrenching to watch, and Emily was the first to act. It's cold out here, isn't it? Come inside. Emily spoke kindly to the girls and led them into the shop. As she passed by, she whispered to me, audible only to my ears. Let's feed them plenty. Yeah, you're right. After all, no customers were coming anyway. We had surplus ingredients. We decided to treat them to a feast. Little did I know at that time, these small girls would become a beacon of hope for our struggling little restaurant. We decided to treat the girls to steaks. As soon as they entered the shop, they quietly whispered steak, and that's why. Hearing those words, we exchanged glances and couldn't help but smile a little. We had been wondering what to treat them to, but it seems our worries were unnecessary. Here you go, steaks for you. Steak. Placing two steaks in front of them, their faces lit up with bright smiles. Having smiles in the shop was indeed a good thing. Initially, they seemed hesitant, as if wondering if it was all right to eat, but their smiles burst forth the moment they took a bite. Delicious. From then on, their hearty eating made it seem like just watching them would fill us up. We watched them eat with joy, smiling as they happily and deliciously devoured their food. But the fact that they had no parents around and were out in such cold weather, starving like this, it seemed there had to be a story behind it. However, I figured they might be wary if I asked them directly. Especially since they seemed a bit guarded around me when I placed the steaks in front of them. Judging the situation, I whispered to Emily. Emily. What is it? Could you ask the girls about their situation? I think they might be less guarded around you. She nodded in understanding to my request and slowly approached the girls. I didn't get closer but moved to a spot where I could still hear their conversation. Is the steak good? She gently approached and asked the girls, who flinched slightly but then nodded vigorously. I'm glad. Are you full now? Could you tell me your names if you don't mind? After exchanging glances, the girls took a moment before the slightly bigger one, presumably the older sister, spoke up. I'm Mia, and this is my sister, Tina. At first, Mia pointed to herself and then to her sister, and Emily smiled at them, taking a seat on a nearby chair. Thank you, those are lovely names. When Emily complimented their names, the two of them seemed to smile a bit more happily. "So, Mia and Tina, why were you at the entrance of the store? Where are your parents?" As she asked this, the two hesitated. It seemed there were difficult circumstances they found hard to talk about. However, they seemed to be trying to say something, stuttering and if she waited patiently without rushing them, they might share their story. After a while, as if they had made up their minds, they began to speak haltingly. "You see, our house, it burned down, and we ran away from it. Dad and Mom are working at night, so they're not here right now." "I see. Do you know how to contact your parents, like where they work?" "I don't know." "I don't know either." She gently patted their heads, saying "I see," as they looked disheartened. Then, feeling the urgency of the situation, I decided to call the police, thinking their parents must be worried. The police said they would try to contact the parents once they knew the situation. However, even after some time, there was no contact with the parents. When the police arrived at the store, it seemed there was a complicated issue. In such cases, they would normally be taken into custody at a facility, but could it be that they're all full? Yes, all the nearby facilities are full. As he expressed his frustration, me and Tina, sensing something unsettling, clung tightly to Emily and stared at us. "For now, we can take them into our care. Mia, Tina, would you come with me?" As he approached, they clung even tighter to Emily. "Mia, Tina, the officer is calling for you." Though she tried to gently persuade them to go with the police, they resisted. "No. We don't want." The more they tried to separate them, the more their voices filled with tears, and they started to cry. It's understandable. Their house had caught fire, and they must have been terrified. In the freezing cold, with nowhere to go, and just when they thought they had found a safe place, they were faced with the prospect of being taken away again. It must have been too much for them. Considering this, I made a suggestion. Would it be possible for us to take care of them for the night? What? They've been through a lot of fear. It might be best not to move them around anymore. That makes sense. Would it be all right if we leave them with you for just one night? We'll give your address to the parents once we get in touch with them. Yes, that would be fine. Mia and Tina, not quite understanding the situation, still clung to Emily, but as the police left, they hesitantly moved away from her and came over to me, gently grabbing the edge of my clothes. "What's going to happen to us? We don't want to be scared anymore." I gently hugged the two of them, who seemed a little frightened. "You'll be staying here for the night." "Here? A sleepover, is that okay?" "Yes, I've got permission from the officer who was here just now, so it's all right." As I explained this to them, their expressions of fear changed instantly, and they showed the biggest smiles I'd ever seen. Yay! Their voices of joy echoed loudly throughout the store. That night was quite a commotion. They were so excited after taking a bath, and before bed, unable to contain their excitement. They involved the whole house in a loud game of hide and seek. Haha, they are so adorable. Emily was with Mia and Tina the whole time, staying by their side for everything they did and holding their hands until they fell asleep. The two of them seemed to fall asleep soundly from exhaustion after playing, and we shared a laugh while looking at their peaceful sleeping faces. The next day, we received a call from the police informing us that they had made contact with the parents. It seemed the parents had shown up at the police station looking for their daughters. We immediately took them to the police station. Upon arrival, we saw people who appeared to be their parents, and the two girls happily ran to them. However, something seemed off. The father's face was somewhat gloomy. After looking at them, he turned to us and thanked us politely. "Thank you for helping my daughters." "Oh, not at all, but what will you do now?" Given that their house had burned down, the parents must also be without a home. Considering they work night shifts, there was also a chance that they might end up in a similar situation again, I thought. Well, we have no home to return to, so we thought about going back to our hometown, but my parents there are quite elderly, suddenly expecting them to take care of children. We also considered renting a place nearby, but it's difficult to find a house immediately, especially with 2 children, and our bank book was burned in the fire. Well, this must be what feeling utterly lost is like. Faced with a situation where every option seems blocked, anyone would look gloomy. It would be strange not to. As we pondered what to do, Emily, who had been listening, spoke up. "Would you like us to take care of them for a while?" He looked at Emily in surprise, not knowing what to make of her offer. "No, but how could we?" The unexpected offer had him looking bewildered. When he caught his wife's sigh, she too seemed confused. "We can't just leave our children with strangers." I thought it was a natural reaction. At the same time, it was clear how much the parents truly cared for Mia and Tina, and I felt a strong desire to help them. But what to do? As I thought about it, I noticed Mia and Tina telling their mother about their experiences the day before. "Mommy, these people let us eat delicious steak, a lot. We want to go play with them again." They seem to have really taken a liking to us, eagerly sharing everything about playing and eating with their mother. "Mia, Tina, you two really love them, don't you?" "Yes." Seeing their beaming smiles, the mother seemed to make up her mind, nodding decisively and speaking to the father. "Dear, maybe we should accept their offer. But they are so fond of them. They must be good people." Her words seemed to reassure the father, who looked at his daughters again. Seeing them nodding in agreement with their mother's words, the father seemed to relax, his tense demeanor softening as he let out a sigh. Then, he turned to us and said, "Until we're ready, could we entrust our daughters to you?" There was no reason for us to refuse. "Yes, of course, we'll take good care of your daughters." And so, we ended up taking care of Mia and Tina. Although they seemed a bit sad to be away from their parents, they were visibly happy to be with us. But the happiest face of all wasn't Mia's or Tina's, it was Emily's. Watching her, I couldn't help but feel a bit guilty. That's because, truth be told, we had wanted children, but were not blessed with any. Though the doctor never told us to give up hope, this strain it put on us mentally led to our relationship deteriorating. As a result, we gave up on having children and decided to focus on nurturing our store instead. However, it seemed Emily couldn't completely let go of her longing for children. "I wonder what you two like." "I love steak." "Haha, you both said that together. You really do love steak, don't you?" Whenever they wanted to play, Emily would join them, and if they wanted something to eat, she would make it for them. She showered them with all the love she could. Some time after they had gotten used to living with us, they came up to me and said, "We want to help out at the store." I was pleased by their offer, but since our store wasn't very busy, there wasn't much for them to do, which left me in a dilemma. How about handing out flyers? Yeah. So, they went out to distribute flyers with Emily. Perhaps moved by the sight of little girls handing out flyers so earnestly, a few more people started to visit our store. From then on, they also began to help out with serving customers in the store. Hi. Although they were only greeting the customers, their fearless and outgoing nature made them quite popular among the customers, and they became the store's little mascots. Gradually, the number of customers increased, and the store began to buzz with laughter and smiles. This was a joyous development, and I ruffled Mia and Tina's hair, saying, "You two have a talent for making people smile." Hey. I was incredibly grateful for their help, which had started to turn the store's fortunes around. Wondering if there was something I could do for them in return, I asked if there was anything they wanted. We want picture books. It turned out they were interested in a girl's picture book about two adorable girls becoming pop stars. It was a bit embarrassing to buy such a book at the bookstore, but I managed to get it and handed it over to them, and they were thrilled. Thank you. We've been so curious about this, we're so happy. I'm glad you're happy. The girls on this book cover look a lot like you too. Really? Yeah, really. You two have a knack for engaging with people and making them smile, so maybe being pop stars could be your calling. Pop stars, huh? They looked at the cover of the picture book, then at each other, and seemed genuinely happy. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of adults they would grow into, and with each passing day, I found myself wanting to watch over them as they grew. But whether it was a sad or happy occasion, the time to say goodbye eventually came. 2 months after we took in them, their parents came to pick them up. The father thanked me profusely. Thank you so much. We've finally gotten everything ready back home and can take Mia and Tina back. We can be a family again. Thank you, truly. Thank you. It was our pleasure. They have been a great help to us, really. We should be the ones thanking you. The mother also expressed her gratitude to me. Emily, perhaps sad about parting with them, hugged them and shed a few tears. Come visit us again, okay? Yeah, we'll come visit again. We'll write you letters. Mia and Tina, while hugging Emily, also started to cry. I was on the verge of tears myself, but held back until I saw Mia and Tina walking away hand in hand with their parents, waving goodbye until they were out of sight. After they were gone, I couldn't hold back any longer and ended up crying shamelessly, but let's keep that a secret. I hope we can meet again. Yeah, we'll surely meet again, I reassured. I mentioned that we made a promise. Then she, nodding in agreement, showed a small smile and said, yes. Then, 10 years passed. At first, we received letters from me and Tina, but gradually their replies ceased, and recently, it had been reduced to just Christmas cards. They must be busy with various things. After all, they are in the midst of their youth. Emily seemed to feel a bit lonely since their replies stopped and only Christmas cards remained, but she always seemed happy seeing the two looking healthy in the photos on the Christmas cards. No customers again today. However, the store wasn't doing well. Urban development progressed further, and our financial situation became even more challenging. We had been maintaining the store with the hope that Mia and Tina would visit again, but there were things that just couldn't be fixed by willpower alone. If only urban development was the only problem. Recently, the situation worsened due to a particular individual. Today, the bell at the entrance rang again. But the person who entered was not a customer, but that particular individual. Hey there, quite empty again today, huh? How about selling this land already? Continuing the store is just accruing losses, right? That person was Robert, a debt collector. He came to collect debts time and time again, and although we refused each time, he spread baseless rumors about pests and rats in the store, causing reputational damage. One might think such rumors wouldn't be believed, but looking at our nearly empty store, the outcome was obvious. Perhaps it was time to give up. I felt sorry for Mia and Tina and Emily, who had worked hard together for so many years, but it might be time to close the store. That's when it happened. Emily came running from the back of the store. I thought she had been on the phone just a moment ago, and then she said in a hurry, "Hey, I just got a call asking if they could film a TV segment in our store." What? They said they're bringing a popular celebrity along. This could be our chance. I thought so. Robert just sneered, thinking that a TV appearance now wouldn't make any difference, but this might be our chance to prove him wrong. Emily, let's accept the TV interview. It was a gamble of a lifetime. If this went well, we might be able to keep the store running. If not, the store would end as he wanted. But I wouldn't let that happen. Absolutely not. In preparation for the TV interview, we cleaned the store and practiced answering potential questions. Then, the day of the TV interview arrived. I could only sleep for a few hours the night before due to nervousness. Trying to calm my rapidly beating heart with deep breaths, the familiar sound of the bell signaled a visit. Wow, it hasn't changed at all. Oh, Tina, look at that. What, Mia? Oh, the steak is still here. Yay. The names I heard were familiar ones that I used to hear and say often. As if guided by the voices, I looked in their direction, and there stood Mia and Tina, whom we had parted with on that day. They were no longer the little girls they once were but had grown into adults, dressed in dazzling outfits. Mia, Tina. As I called out their names in surprise, they responded with the same full smiles I remembered. We're back. What, are you guys here? Didn't you hear about the TV interview, that a celebrity was coming? I heard, but that celebrity is. It's us. To my surprise, they had grown up to become pop stars and were now a popular duo. Even Emily was taken aback, her mouth opening and closing in shock. When we heard about the TV segment, The Flavors That Supported Us, the popular duo, we immediately thought of your restaurant, they explained. We requested your restaurant specifically. All I could manage in response to their thanks was a stunned, "Oh, right." I only remember bits and pieces of the interview itself. It seems that the shock was enough to make me forget most of it, a phenomenon that's apparently quite real. What I do recall is that the two of them mentioned that our store and my words had inspired them to become idols. The reason we started as idols is largely because Alex told us we had a talent for making people smile, they said. Alex said that making people smile, being involved with people, maybe being an idol was our calling. He might have been joking then, but we always remembered it. We wanted to support people who are working hard, and that's why we became idols. Honestly, I couldn't hold back my tears hearing them say that during the interview. The fact that they remembered my casual words all this time and chose it as their path in life was incredibly moving. Alex, are you crying? Are you okay? What happened? I reassured the worried duo with a smile, wiping away my tears with one hand. It's just that I'm really happy, you know. Turning to Emily, who was also tearfully happy, she nodded vigorously in agreement, saying, "Yes, yes." From then on, we became busier than ever. Our restaurant started to see lines of customers every day, and the place was filled with laughter and smiles. "Honey, we've got an order for 2 steaks." Got it. The impact of Mia and Tina was tremendous. They promoted our restaurant on their social media, and with the influence of the TV appearance, the place was bustling, making one wonder what had happened to the dwindling customer base. Our continuous efforts in creating new menus and refining our flavors paid off, with customers praising our food and becoming regulars. Then, he showed up again. "Hey, what's all this crowd about? And hasn't this place gotten nicer?" During a slightly quieter time, Robert, who visited as usual, was taken aback by the look of the restaurant, his eyes widening in surprise. This was because the restaurant was in the midst of being renovated from its old, worn-out appearance to a more modern look. While watching the astonished Robert, I signaled to the two who were in the back of the store. Mia and Tina were furious about what had happened to my restaurant. They were particularly upset with Robert and had asked to be present for this moment. When Mia and Tina appeared, he was even more shocked. "You were the one being terrible to Alex in his restaurant. Spreading false rumors, that's really low." They spoke loudly, making sure others could hear. The surrounding customers started giving him cold looks. Feeling the hostile glares, he took a step back, fear evident on his face. I stood in front of Robert, with Mia and Tina lining up beside me. "We won't hand over our store to anyone." "Sorry, so sorry." As we pressured him to leave, he scurried out of the restaurant. They, looking pleased, exchanged high fives, and the customers joined in the celebration. From that day on, our restaurant was no longer affected by Robert's defamation or the challenges of urban development. The restaurant was bustling every day, regardless of the time. We were busy, but we were living fulfilling days. Mia and Tina, though often touring for concerts, always made sure to visit when they were in town. Thanks to them, many celebrities started visiting our restaurant. "Excuse me, can I place an order?" Today, as usual, customers kept coming in, and orders were continuously being placed. Emily used to handle order taking, but now her hands were too full to manage alone. "Yes, I'll be right with you." I rushed to attend to the customers' calls. My face must have been filled with a cheerful smile. Initially, it was us who saved Mia and Tina. But before we knew it, it was Mia and Tina who ended up saving us. Fate truly is a mysterious thing, and I want to continue cherishing these seemingly minor connections. I vowed to protect this restaurant, which Mia and Tina saved from closure, with all my heart. "You don't belong here with that missing arm of yours, you defect. Get out now." The angry shout echoed throughout the store, causing me to instinctively shield my sister, Emily, next to me and look at the man in front of us. The man was looking down on Emily and me with an intimidating gaze. I'm sorry." Tears began to stream down my frightened sister's face. The moment I saw those tears, something inside me snapped. "I've reached my breaking point." "Then you are fired as of today." With a cold stare at the men, I said those words. "My name is Kyle. Right after graduating from high school, I started working at a company as an employee." "Hey, Kyle, I'm home." "Hey, Emily, how was your day?" "Emily, my sister, just started working this year." "Come here, Emily, I'll help you take it off." "It's okay, I can do it by myself." "But it's hard to do alone, isn't it? Come here." "Geez, Kyle, you're too overprotective." Emily sighed, slightly exasperated, and rolled up the sleeve of her left arm. Emily's left arm is a prosthetic. Moreover, she has only recently started using it, so Emily is still not quite used to putting it on and taking it off. When Emily said she wanted to live alone after becoming a working adult, I couldn't allow it. Our parents are no longer with us. So naturally, I worry about Emily a lot. "See, it's off now." "Thanks, Kyle." Emily carefully cradled the removed prosthetic arm with her right arm. "Hey, Kyle, today was my first payday." "Is that so? It's already been a month since you started working at that factory. Congratulations. What are you going to buy with your first paycheck?" "Well, first this. Here, Kyle, take this." "This is..." Emily handed me an envelope filled with cash. "It's to pay back what you fronted for the prosthetic. It might be little by little, but I'll make sure to pay it back. You don't have to worry about it." "No way. This is something I definitely want to pay for with my own money." "Well. Also, Kyle, let's go out to eat on our next day. Official. Remember that seafood restaurant we saw on TV? I'll treat you." "Hey, that place is expensive. You don't need to do that. If you want to go, I'll treat you." "Come on, that defeats the purpose. I want to give back for all the times you've taken care of me." Emily. I was incredibly happy that Emily cared so much about me, but it also made me feel a bit lonely. The next day, I talked about it with my coworker, Alex. Emily wants to treat me to some pretty good seafood on her entry-level salary. What do you think, Alex? Well, that sounds nice. You should go, Alex said with a bright smile. I've known her since high school, and she gets along well with Emily too. Given her familiarity with me and my sister, I was hoping for some eye-opening advice, but her straightforward opinion took me by surprise. I must have looked quite downcast, as Alex cocked her head in confusion after seeing my face. What's wrong? Aren't you happy? No, it's not that. It's just that, actually, I've also received the money Emily saved to pay me back for the prosthetic arm. I'm worried that if she spends so much, she won't have much money left for herself. I don't think there's anything to worry about. Really? Yes, because that's what Emily wants to do, right? You should accept her feelings. Maybe you're right. Look, if you're going to keep worrying about it, I'll go out to dinner with Emily in your place. What? No way, that's definitely not happening. All right, then stop fussing and let Emily treat you, okay, Kyle? Alex teased, smirking and tapping me lightly on the head. Okay, I get it. While I still felt a bit uneasy, I understood what Alex was trying to say. I decided to accept Emily's feelings. And so, the day came for Emily and me to go to the seafood restaurant. Kyle, are you ready? Yeah, ready whenever you are. I turned around as I responded. There stood Emily, dressed a bit more fashionably than usual. Wow, Emily, you look nice. Really, I don't look too childish. Are you sure it's okay? It's fine, you look beautiful. I couldn't help but marvel at how grown-up she had become. Then, shall we get going? I smiled, trying to mask the sudden surge of loneliness, and urged Emily on. We arrived at the restaurant and were seated at the counter in front of the open kitchen. We were quickly admitted thanks to Emily's reservation. Could we start with a few chef's choice appetizers, please? Of course. The chef nodded at Emily's order and with skillful hands, prepared the appetizers and placed it in front of us. It was the best stuff I had ever tasted. This is amazing. It's delicious, Kyle. Yeah, it really is. Thanks, Emily, for bringing me to such a nice place. Hey, are you crying, Kyle? No, it's just something in my eye. I tried to hide the tears welling up from the emotional moment, turning my face away from Emily. I caught the eye of the smiling chef, feeling a bit embarrassed. By the way, how's work going? Are you managing okay? I'm doing fine. I'm a bit clumsy at times, but I'm getting used to it, no worries. Emily said this with a bright smile, but I knew something she didn't. Occasionally, Emily would come home with bruises here and there. I had once pressed her to tell me what was happening. I'm just not used to the environment and the tasks, so I end up bumping into things here and there. Emily said as if it were nothing. True to Emily's words, the frequency of her coming home injured had decreased lately, but I still couldn't help but worry. Emily, if anything tough happens at work, you need to tell me right away. Geez, I told you I'm fine. You really worry too much, Kyle. Sorry, was I being too persistent? No, it's because you're always there for me, Kyle, that I can keep trying my best. Thank you so much. Emily. Tears began to well up in my eyes again. I guess I tend to get overly concerned when it comes to Emily. Emily's current job is at a factory that I helped her get through a connection at my company. They mainly assemble pianos there, and they've assigned Emily some simple tasks she can manage with one arm. Before Emily started working at the factory, I insisted that having a prosthetic arm would be definitely better, but Emily refused to let me pay for it. Kyle, I want to work hard and pay for the prosthetic arm with my own money. Please, don't pay for it. Please. But Emily, it would be better to have the prosthetic sooner, don't you think? Ideally, before you start working at the factory. I know, but... Emily closed her mouth, a complex expression on her face. By this time, Emily had become less dependent on me. It wasn't long ago that she would run to me crying over the smallest things. Kyle, I'm sorry, but I can't budge on this. I want to pay for the prosthetic with my own money. That's what I want to do. All right, if you insist that much, we'll do it your way. Really? Is that okay? Jer, but in exchange, let's get the prosthetic made right now. Oh, what do you mean? I don't have that much saved up yet. Seeing Emily's confused and worried face, I gently placed my hand on her head. Yeah, so I'll cover the initial costs. Once you start getting your salary, you can pay me back little by little, as long as it's not too hard on you. Kyle. Tears started to roll down Emily's cheeks. Thank you, I'll definitely pay you back. It's okay if you don't, though. No, I must. I absolutely will. You have to take it when I do. It's a promise. Okay, I understand. I understand. I stroked Emily's head, comforting her as she began to cry. It hasn't been that long since that day, but lately, it feels like Emily is growing up at an incredible rate. As I gazed at Emily's face, she gave me a slightly troubled smile. What's wrong, Kyle? I was just thinking, you've really grown up. Of course, I am. I'm an adult now, you know. I even want to live on my own. That's out of the question. Besides, you can commute from home for now, so there's no need to rush into living alone, right? Maybe you're right. I guess I'll keep relying on you a bit longer then, she said with a laugh. Perhaps she realized how earnest I had become. Emily looked at me with a mischievous smile. Kyle, thank you for supporting me this far. I might lean on you a lot more in the future, but today is on me, so eat up. Thank you, Emily. When Emily first started working, it wasn't just the injuries. She often looked exhausted when she came home. I had thought about convincing her to quit if this continued. But Emily has persevered and continued with her job. I felt a deep sense of emotion at Emily's growth. Today would surely be a memorable day for us siblings. As we enjoyed the delicious meal and had a great time, a man unexpectedly approached us from behind. Emily, what are you doing here? Good evening, Mr. Jones. Seeing the face of the man who approached, Emily's expression darkened instantly. It was rare to see Emily, who's usually so friendly, show such an attitude towards someone, which made me scrutinize the man's face closely. So, who's this guy, your boyfriend? No, that's not it. This is my brother. Mr. Jones glanced at me disdainfully. I didn't like his attitude, but considering he was someone from Emily's workplace, it seemed better not to stir up trouble. Are you from Emily's workplace? I'm her brother, Kyle. Nice to meet you. I'm Bill Jones, the factory manager. Mr. Jones seemed to be around my age. Despite being the manager, he was quite young. I remembered hearing that a veteran worker at Emily's factory had retired not long ago. Mr. Jones, Emily's always been grateful for your guidance, but let's leave work out of this since we're in a private setting and enjoy our time here today. Yeah, sure. I tried to casually steer the conversation away and distance us from him, but for some reason, Mr. Jones decided to sit down next to Emily. Feeling uneasy about it, I turned my attention back to Emily. Emily, would you like to order something new? Yeah, let's see, what should we get? Emily smiled awkwardly, leaning towards me as if she felt uncomfortable next to Mr. Jones. He was watching her intently with a somewhat oppressive gaze. Emily, could you look this way for a second? What? Oh, just as I thought. There's an eyelash on your cheek. Go to the restroom and take it off. Oh, sorry, and thank you. I'll be right back." Taking the opportunity while Emily was away, I moved to her seat. I somehow felt it wasn't right to leave Emily and this man side by side. "You seem to get along well with your sister." "I guess. It's normal, I think." "Now I see. It's because you spoil her so much that she's always so coddled." His gaze felt unsettling, as if he was assessing me. At this point, I had a hunch. The reason Emily often looked unhappy when she came home from work must be because of this man. "Kyle, sorry for the wait, and thanks." "It's okay, no worries." Emily seemed to understand my actions upon returning from the restroom. Though a bit bewildered, she took the seat I had been in. "Excuse me, could we get a couple more Chef's Choice plates, please?" "Of course, just a moment." "Chef's Choice." Mr. Jones let out a low chuckle as Emily placed her order with the chef. "Someone as useless as you, who can't even carry a load, sure is living the high life. It's a special occasion today." "Oh, despite dropping important parts every day and getting yelled at." His words revealed something I couldn't ignore. It seemed Emily was being made to carry loads at the factory. "Excuse me, sir, may I have a word?" "What is it?" Looking at Mr. Jones, who regarded me as if I were an annoyance, I couldn't help but glare back. "Mr. Jones, Emily isn't suited for heavy lifting tasks. I was under the impression that your factory was aware of this and hired her with that understanding. Weren't you aware of this?" "What are you talking about? We're paying her a salary. We can afford to give anyone special treatment, can we?" After belittling me with those words, he deliberately leaned over to Emily, grinning slyly. "It's disgusting, really. I have to tolerate your uselessness at work, and here you are, dining in a fancy place." I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. A defective product like you with only one arm doesn't belong here. Get out now." "Hey, Mr. Jones, please don't raise your voice." Instinctively, I shielded Emily and moved away from Mr. Jones. "Emily, are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, I'm so sorry." Emily tried to hold back, but her voice trembled, and tears spilled from her eyes. "Emily, don't apologize. There's no need for you to be sorry." I wrapped an arm around Emily's shoulder, offering her a handkerchief. She weakly accepted it and stifled a sob. Why should Emily have to endure such treatment? It was unjust. Emily didn't choose to be one-armed. Hearing her cry, my mind drifted back to the dreadful memory of the accident. It happened several years ago. That day, Emily was headed to a piano competition with our parents. "Kyle, can you come today?" "Sorry, I've got a practice match with a club." "I see, then, it can't be helped. Let's celebrate when I get back. You're bound to win something, Emily." "Okay, I'll do my best. Thanks, Kyle, I'm off then." She waved with a smile, joining our parents in the car. Little did I know that tragedy would strike soon after. Dad, Mom, Emily. Suddenly called by the club advisor, I was faced with an unbearable truth. I rushed to the hospital I was directed to, screaming in front of the operating room. "You must be Kyle, right?" "Yes, that's me. Doctor, how are my parents and my sister?" "I'm sorry. Unfortunately, your parents." "It can't be." My mind went blank. It was a car accident. I was told they collided head-on with a car that veered into their lane. Despite all medical efforts, my parents were gone. And Kyle, please brace yourself about your sister, Emily. The reality the doctor revealed floored me. After a long surgery, Emily was the only one who miraculously survived. "Kyle, where?" "Emily, it's okay, I'm here." "That's good. Hey, Kyle, my left hand. It doesn't move and doesn't hurt at all. what happened to my left hand? Emily, it's okay, don't worry. Just rest for now. I'll always be by your side. Soon, her breathing evened out in sleep. Gently, I touched Emily's left shoulder. Oh, Emily. Oh, Emily. Seeing Emily, with her arm completely missing from the elbow down, I couldn't hold back my tears. Emily had aspired to be a pianist. Both our parents and I always supported Emily's dream. The realization that such aspirations had been dashed caused me great distress. Despite knowing that neither our parents would return nor Emily's arm would come back, the sense of loss was overwhelming. After graduating from high school, I chose to work. Kyle, are you sure you don't want to go to college? Yeah, it's fine. I didn't have a specific goal in mind. But Emily, you shouldn't give up on your dream of becoming a pianist. But, how can I? With a near tearful expression, Emily touched her shortened left arm. My left hand, it's gone. How can I become a pianist now? That's not true. Once your surgical wounds heal, we'll get you a prosthetic arm, and then you can start practicing again. I'm sure you'll be able to play the piano again. Really? Of course, Dad, Mom, and I will always be there to support you. Thank you, Kyle. I was determined not to let Emily give up on her dream of becoming a pianist. Somehow, continuing to strive for her goal felt like a way to maintain a connection with our departed parents. And so began our life together as siblings. Kyle, the pot's burning. Oh, sorry, Emily, it's dangerous, don't touch it. At first, we struggled with unfamiliar household chores. Enough, I've come to help. It's unfair to Emily to eat such food. Sorry, Alex, I appreciate the help. Seeing my never-improving culinary skills, Alex offered a helping hand out of concern. From now on, I'll take care of the laundry, so don't you dare touch it, Kyle. But that's too much. I'm not doing this for you. Emily asked me for help. Really, you should be more considerate even if you're siblings. Right, sorry. Regardless of our sibling bond, Emily was a girl of a certain age. There might be things she found hard to discuss with me. While Alex's help with chores was invaluable, what I truly appreciated was her willingness to listen to Emily's concerns. Through it all, we've supported each other and persevered together. Why should someone like Mr. Jones, who knew nothing about us, say such things to us? Seeing Emily cry under his intimidation, something inside me snapped. Mr. Jones. As I stood up, protecting Emily, I turned to face Mr. Jones. Yeah, what is it, big bro? Don't call me big bro, it makes me sick. Sorry, big bro. Mr. Jones's condescending laughter pushed me past my limit. Mr. Jones, you are fired as of today. What? What are you talking about? His eyes widened in shock at my words. Kyle. Emily looked up at me, worried. Emily, let's go. Wait a minute, what do you mean by that? As we attempted to leave, Mr. Jones called out to us in a panic. I couldn't be bothered to explain. I pulled out my wallet, fetched a business card, and tossed it at him. This is no way you are. I'll be reporting your behavior. Even if the higher-ups forgive you, I never will. Remember that. Ignoring Mr. Jones as he stuttered and gaped after seeing my business card, Emily and I settled our bill at the restaurant and left. We then visited Alex's house to discuss a certain matter. Welcome, I've been waiting. Emily, are you okay? Oh dear, you've cried so much. Poor thing. Alex, It's okay. Alex and Kyle will protect you. You don't have to worry about anything now. Alex welcomed us at the door and embraced the crying Emily. Kyle, I got the gist over the phone, but let's talk more once you've settled down. Sure. While holding Emily, I could see the fury in Alex's eyes. Soon after, Alex took Emily to the bedroom and put her to bed. Sitting in the living room and waiting for Alex, she came over and sat down on the sofa opposite me with a sigh. "Did you manage to get anything out of Emily?" "Yes, but you might not want to hear it. She made me promise not to tell you," crying. "I have a rough idea. Thanks, Alex." Alex avoided eye contact with me, as if disgusted. It seemed likely. The bruises on Emily's body were probably not just from dropping things, but from other incidents too. That man, he can be forgiven. "I understand. Let's go to the factory together tomorrow." "Are you sure, Alex?" "Kyle, I feel the same way as you." "Okay, thanks." Finally making eye contact, we nodded in understanding. Our resolve was unified. Tomorrow, we would confront that man. The next day, Emily, Alex, and I went to the piano factory. Mr. Smith. From the back, Mr. Jones, having spotted us, rushed over. As Emily flinched, Alex and I shielded her and faced Mr. Jones. "Thank you so much for coming. I had no idea you were an employee of Carter Music. I deeply apologize for my rudeness yesterday." What a turnaround from yesterday's attitude. Mr. Jones kept smiling and apologizing to me. I was speechless at a sudden change of heart. Well, it's not surprising. The company where Alex and I work is a major client of this factory. Moreover, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say they are almost exclusively a prime contracting company. "Mr. Jones, before apologizing to me, could you please apologize to Emily for yesterday and for everything before that?" Well, that is." With a look that said I knew everything, I stared him down. Sweating, Mr. Jones looked around nervously. "Just so you know, there's no escaping this." "What's with you?" "Oh, my apologies. I haven't introduced myself." "You're Alex. Cut it be, you are." Mr. Jones was shocked as he took Alex's business card. "The current president of Carter Music is my father, and I work here as the prospective president. Is there a problem?" "No, of course not. I'm terribly sorry." "So you see, you're missing the point. The person you really need to apologize to is..." "Alex, Kyle, it's okay. I'm fine now." From behind Alex and me, Emily let out a soft cry. Then, staring down Mr. Jones with all her might, she stepped in front of us. "Mr. Jones, I am resigning from this factory as of today. Though my time here was short, I am grateful for the opportunity." Saying that, Emily apologized profoundly. What are you talking about all of a sudden? It's not like it matters if someone useless like you leaves. I couldn't care less. Don't come crying back to me." "Well, we'll see who ends up regretting this. Remember what I said about reporting this matter to higher-ups." "What?" "Meaning, I've already informed our CEO about this issue. Naturally, our dealings are official. The official documents will follow. You're finished." I've never seen my father so furious before. "No, please." Hearing Alex's words, Mr. Jones collapsed to his knees, his face turning pale with despair. While he was visibly dejected, I whispered to him in a way Emily couldn't hear. "Listen, I will never forgive you for laying a hand on Emily. Don't you dare show your face to Emily and me ever again." "Yes, sir." Leaving a diminished Mr. Jones behind, we left the factory. Some time later, Emily officially resigned from the piano factory and joined the company where Alex and I work. "Here, Emily, this will be your station." Well, such a magnificent piano. All the attachments to the prosthetic hand for playing music are in place. Emily, do you think you can manage? "Of course. Thank you so much for preparing such a wonderful place for me, Alex and Kyle. I'll do my best." Knowing Emily's situation, Alex's father, the president of Carter Music, started a new business venture for her. That venture was the company's own piano school. It focused on lessons for people with disabilities like Emily's, and she was set to teach here. Emily had started playing the piano again, and through the lessons, she had quickly mastered playing with a prosthetic hand. Emily initially played and taught songs that could be played with the right hand only, but has now grown to the point of teaching advanced pieces that require both hands. After some time passed, it's finally time for Emily's pianist debut. Yay, I'll have some good news to share with Dad and Mom when I get home today. It's a dream come true for your family. Alex and I attended Emily's first concert as a professional pianist. Rumored as the miraculous prosthetic pianist, the public's response was immense, and today's concert tickets sold out immediately. Hey, why don't we go say hi in the dressing room first? Yeah, that's a good idea. I hope Emily isn't too nervous. Urged by Alex, we headed to Emily's dressing room. Knocking and entering, we were greeted by Emily's smiling face. Kyle, Alex, I'm so glad you came. Of course. Congratulations on today, Emily. After the concert, why don't you, Kyle, and I go out for a celebratory meal? Oh, about that, Alex. There's a staff party after the concert today, so I'm sorry, but you and Kyle should go have dinner together. That's a shame. Tough luck, Alex. Laughing at Alex's disappointment, I couldn't help but find it funny. Kyle, come here for a second. What's up, Emily? While I was still chuckling, Emily grabbed my arm and pulled me to a corner of the room. She seemed to have something on her mind. I listened attentively. Kyle, you know this is the perfect opportunity, right? Opportunity for what? Geez, Kyle, you and Alex are alone today. It's the perfect chance to confess. Hut, Emily, since when did you know about? From the very beginning. Kyle, you always put others first, didn't you? I'm fine now, okay. Emily said this with a cheerful smile. Don't worry, Kyle. I think you two definitely have mutual feelings for each other. Is that so? What are you two whispering about over there? It's nothing. I blurted out, suddenly too conscious to look Alex in the eye. What's wrong? Your face is all red. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I managed to respond. Emily watched our exchange with a beaming smile, clearly amused by the situation. On this day, as Emily's dream came true, it seemed my role as her steadfast supporter might have come to an end. As for what happens next between Alex and me, becoming much closer than ever before, well, that's a story for another time.
I want to be their mother. I really do. The moment my wife said that, I felt my chest tighten. That's right, my wife has always wanted children. But I was uncertain if we should be the ones to raise them. Though deep down, I already had my answer. Okay, let's go talk about it. Yes. I said this to reassure her. But who knows what will happen? I never truly believed we could make someone else's children our own. My name is Terry, and I'm a 40-year-old man. My wife, Nina, and I are the same age, but we don't have children. We got married 10 years ago, but we never had any kids. At first, Nina thought we would eventually have a baby, but as her period came each month, she started to realize something was wrong. So we went to an OBGYN, and she was diagnosed with infertility. When she got home, she burst into tears, repeatedly apologizing to me. I'm sorry, it's my body that couldn't give us a baby. Please forgive me. Nina, don't apologize so much. I didn't marry you just to have a baby. I'm happy just being with you. It's sad that we can't have kids. But we can support each other and live our lives together. But I feel so guilty. You were looking forward to having a baby too, right? Well, yeah. But maybe it was just wishful thinking. People without kids envy those with kids, and those with kids envy the freedom of those without. We don't have kids, but we're a happy couple and we can enjoy our free time. Isn't that good enough? In fact, we were so close that our neighbors called us the perfect couple. We go out together on weekends, enjoy outdoor activities, and still go on dates. But for Nina, having children seemed like an unfulfilled dream. As a man, I can't fully understand her feelings, but I know that for women, children are something they deeply yearn for. Men develop a paternal instinct when a child is born, but women must be born with a maternal instinct. Nina is incredibly kind to children and is loved by our neighbors' kids and our niece. But seeing her smile sadly when she's around them is heartbreaking. She must long to hold her own child in her arms. Nina works as a flight attendant, so she's often busy and not home much. She works on domestic flights, but sometimes she has long flights and can't come home. But I can handle housework, so I keep the house clean even when she's not around. I've been doing housework since I was a child. I grew up in a single-parent household, and I helped my mom by doing chores from a young age. My father was irresponsible and spent all his time playing, so my mom eventually divorced him. I think he was addicted to gambling and racked up a lot of debt. My mom had to take over that debt, and it was really tough for her. I wanted to support her, so I cleaned the house and did whatever I could every day. Because of my upbringing, I thought I'd never get married, but I met Nina at a party and we hit it off. Nina didn't mind that I came from a poor single-parent household and even praised my mom as a kind woman. My mom recently passed away, probably due to all the stress she endured. I wish I had been more devoted to her. They say you can't regret things in advance, but it's too late now. No matter how much I wish I had done more for her, there's nothing I can do now that she's gone. One day, I went to the airport to pick up my wife. I had found a nice restaurant in a magazine and thought we could go there after she finished work. One of our hobbies as a childless couple is enjoying good food, and we like going to fancy places meant just for adults. I thought a nice restaurant would be perfect to treat my tired wife. "Hey, how was your flight today?" "Hey." The flight was okay, a bit bumpy, but nothing major. Just some usual turbulence. "Got it, glad it wasn't too bad. How about we go to that restaurant we talked about? You know, the one called Starlight." "Oh, that sounds great. We talked about going there. They have a great selection of wines, right?" "Exactly, and I know you love wine, so I thought it would be perfect." "Alright, I'm going to drink a lot tonight. I have the day off tomorrow." Just as we were about to leave the airport to head to the restaurant, we saw two young sisters huddled in a corner. They had backpacks beside them and looked like elementary school kids. They were identical twins, judging by their similar faces. Why are these kids sleeping here? Where are their parents? "Hey, little ones, what are you doing here?" We were left here by our mom." "What? Your mom left you here?" "Yeah, she told us to wait here. So, we're waiting. We don't have the house keys or know how to get home." Despite being young, the girl spoke clearly. I was shocked by what she said. What kind of parent does that to an elementary school kid? As I stood there, stunned, the girl continued. "We have no choice but to wait here. We can't go home without the keys, and we don't know the way anyway. Sorry to worry you." Well. It's dangerous to stay here. How about coming to our place? It's cold and you might catch a cold. And you could run into some strange people." "Hey, that makes you sound like a creep." "Oh, right." Nina's comment made me realize that I must seem like a stranger to them too. Anyone would be scared if approached by a stranger. While I was pondering what to do, Nina searched her phone for a photo and showed it to the girl. The girl's expression softened instantly. "Hey, that's Macy. Why do you have a picture of her?" "Well, Macy is my niece." What's a niece?" "It means Macy's mom is my sister." "So, you're Macy's relative?" "Yes, that's right. So, we're not strangers. You can call me Auntie, it's appropriate for my age." "No way. You're too cool and pretty to be an auntie." "What about me, then?" "You're definitely an uncle." "But she's like a cool sister." Ha ha ha. The girl laughed energetically, which relieved me a bit. I didn't mind being called an uncle. Honestly, at my age, having kids this young wouldn't be unusual, and being called an older brother would feel awkward. Meanwhile, the other girl was shy and looking down. She seemed a bit more reserved. The talkative girl then introduced herself and her sister. The outgoing one was the older twin, Hannah, and the shy one was the younger twin, Chloe. Hannah and Chloe looked identical but were opposites in personality. Hannah was active and loved sports. But she wasn't fond of studying. And her backpack only had comic books and a toy ball, with no school supplies. Chloe loved reading and was good at studying. Her backpack was full of books, and she says she has borrowed hundreds of them from the library so far. They were both 12-year-old 6th graders. We couldn't leave them at the airport, so we decided to take them home. They seemed to be friends with my wife's niece, so their home must be near my sister-in-law's. The logo on their school shirts was the same as my niece's, so I showed them the photo. It was a lucky guess. Got it. And they're about the same height as Macy. Exactly. Well, it seems they know Macy, so they understand we're not strangers. Now, what should we do? Unfortunately, we should skip the restaurant tonight. Let's take these kids home and get them cleaned up. They're covered in dust. Yeah, they've been in that corner for a while. It's terrible. I can't believe any parent would abandon such young kids. It's unbelievable. Seeing how dirty the sisters were, we decided to take them home and give them a bath. Even though the airport is clean, being in a corner would naturally make them dusty. Their clothes didn't look like they had been washed recently either. We brought them home and immediately started running a bath. At 12 years old, they were old enough to wash themselves, so Nina didn't need to help. Nina said, "These are a bit big," and gave them her t-shirts to wear. The shirts were oversized, turning into shirt dresses, which looked cute. It was June, hot and humid, so they wouldn't catch a cold inside the house. Afterward, we fed them, and they ate hungrily, clearly very hungry. They didn't have any money, so they must have been waiting for their mother to return at the airport. When I asked about their father, they said he left home to be with a younger woman and never came back. What is wrong with their parents? What kind of parents would abandon such young children without any guilt? I knew there were strange parents out there, but seeing it firsthand was shocking. Now that you've had a bath and dinner, let's talk about what to do next. Should we call the police to have someone come pick you up? You can't stay here forever. I said this to Hannah. Her face turned red and she looked like she was about to cry. Please don't. If you do that, we'll become criminals' children. And Grandma and Grandpa will get in trouble with the police. That would be awful. But you won't be able to go back home. What will you do? Can we stay here? Well. Even the shy Chloe was pleading with me now. Please let us stay here. Our grandparents couldn't come to us for a reason. Grandparents? Do they usually come to your house? Yes. Mom's parents. Our mom is always out with men, so Grandma takes care of us. She has the house keys. But she couldn't come because she's in the hospital. Hospital? What happened? She ate some seafood and got food poisoning. Food poisoning. That must have been tough. If the police get involved, Grandma and Grandpa might be blamed too. Please, don't call them. Okay, I understand. I'll visit the hospital tomorrow. Yes, please do that. So, I decided to visit Hannah and Chloe's grandparents in the hospital the next day. Their grandparents had eaten seafood that was probably undercooked, causing severe diarrhea and high fever, resulting in hospitalization. When I entered the hospital room, I found their grandparents in a shared room. They were both on 4 drips, but their symptoms seemed to be improving, and their fever was going down. The grandfather was still asleep, but the grandmother noticed me and greeted me. I explained that we were taking care of Hannah and Chloe. The grandmother looked very apologetic and lamented her daughter's irresponsibility. Ever since my daughter stopped taking care of them, we've been looking after the grandkids. But when we were hospitalized, we couldn't go to their house and unlock the door. That must have been tough. We're so sorry for the trouble. We wish we could thank you properly, but we're struggling ourselves. Oh, no, you don't have to thank us. It's no problem at all. My husband and I were self-employed, but during hard times, we couldn't pay all our bills. Our social security benefits aren't much now. We've been living frugally, so we can't offer much." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Oh, please don't cry. Really, there's no need to thank us. I'm really sorry. One of the reasons we're in this situation is because of our daughter's debt. She was obsessed with nightclubs and racked up a lot of debt. We paid it off for her, which left us unable to pay taxes. It's disgraceful. Isn't it? No. It's not your fault. What a daughter." The mother of these sisters got deeply into nightclubs and ended up spending too much on her favorite male entertainer. When she couldn't pay her debts, she turned to her parents for help. So the grandparents paid off her debts, which resulted in long periods of unpaid taxes and meager pension benefits. What kind of adult behaves this way? The grandmother asked if we could take care of the sisters until they were discharged from the hospital. I agreed, as it seemed like the best option. Nina is a busy flight attendant, but I work mainly from home as an engineer. So I can take care of the kids while their grandparents recover. It turned out they went to the same elementary school as my niece, Macy. And since my sister-in-law's house is nearby, the school is within walking distance. With the house key the grandmother gave me, I went to Hannah and Chloe's house to fetch their clothes and bring them back. The house, maintained by the grandparents, was fairly clean, but there were clothes belonging to their mother scattered around. All of them were flashy, some even embarrassingly so. The sink was piled with dirty dishes and empty cup noodle containers. The girls must have been surviving on cup noodles while their grandparents were unable to come. I cleaned them up to prevent any bugs from coming in. After Hannah and Chloe went to bed, Nina quietly said to me, "I want to be their mom." Is that okay? What? You mean? Those girls don't know what parental love is. They haven't been properly loved. I want to be their parent and teach them about it. I know I'm a busy flight attendant, but I want to be there for them as much as possible. Nina. I want to visit the grandmother again and talk to her. All right, let's go together. We needed to seriously consider what to do with these girls. In the past few days, Hannah and Chloe had become more than strangers to us. I started to hope they could stay with us forever. But was it right for us, with no blood relation, to keep them? Wouldn't it be better for their grandparents to take care of them? Yet, I didn't want to let them go. After the grandparents were discharged, Nina and I went to visit them. Nina expressed her desire to adopt Hannah and Chloe. I know this is a lot to ask, but we want to adopt the girls, she said. Thank you for thinking of them, the grandmother replied. We would do our best to raise them. Can you entrust them to us? That would be helpful. Honestly, we don't have the money, and living with my husband is already a struggle. The girls would be happier with you. We're sorry for all the trouble. No, it's no trouble. I want to be their mother. We will raise them well. Thank you. Please take care of them. So, we decided to adopt Hannah and Chloe. Not just any adoption, but a legal adoption. Legal adoption severs the legal ties with the birth parents and establishes the adoptive parents as the legal parents. Their names will be listed as our daughters on the family register, making them almost like our biological children. After contacting the necessary agencies, we found out where their parents were and informed them of our intention to adopt the girls. Through a representative, we were told that neither the mother nor the father had any interest in the children and were fine with the adoption. It was surprisingly straightforward and confirmed their lack of interest in the kids. They really didn't care about their children. If they did, they wouldn't have handled it through a representative. So, the adoption process went smoothly, and we officially became a family. Hannah and Chloe, who used to call us by our name, eventually started calling us Dad and Mom. I was worried if they would ever truly see us as their parents, especially since they were already older, but it made me happy to know they did. 10 years flew by in the blink of an eye. Nina and I turned 50. Nina now works hard as an instructor training young flight attendants. I, on the other hand, had established my own office. I was a freelance engineer, but at 45, I started my own small company. Chloe is now 22 years old. Hannah, after graduating from a commercial high school, started dating a local businessman named Sean. Chloe is about to graduate from college. Hannah didn't go to college because she disliked studying, but I think that's fine. She graduated from high school and is working as a secretary at a small local company. Recently, Hannah's boyfriend, Sean, proposed to her. Look at this ring. Sean gave it to me. Isn't it beautiful? It's full of diamonds. Wow, what a beautiful engagement ring. It's amazing. You're so loved, sis. Right? Well, Chloe, you'll get proposed to by a wonderful person someday too. After all, you're as beautiful as me. What's that? But I'm too shy, so I wonder if I can ever date someone? You will. You're kind, and someone will definitely see that and appreciate you. I hope so. Oh, that's a lovely ring. Show it to me too. Look, isn't it great? Sean gave it to me at a romantic restaurant. How wonderful. We had times like that too, didn't we? Wait, did Dad propose to you romantically too? Did I? I don't really remember. Come on, Dad's just being shy. He loves Mom so much. Your father is a bit shy, isn't he? Nina laughed. As we were having this conversation, a call came in from an unknown number. When I answered, a woman on the other end said, "I'll be visiting you soon." What was that about? It left me feeling uneasy. Who was that call from? I don't know. Who was it? It was a voice I didn't recognize. That's creepy. Yeah, a bit scary. I decided not to worry about the call, thinking it might just be a wrong number. Nevertheless, marriage happens fast. After Hannah's wedding, Chloe will probably be next. The house will feel empty again. But that's part of growing up. Hannah was busy preparing for her wedding. She visited venues, chose dresses, and looked for a new house with her fiancé, Sean. I felt a bit lonely thinking about her leaving the house. Finally, the wedding day arrived, and I felt incredibly nervous. These past 10 years felt both long and short. There were the usual adolescent rebellious phases, but they say it's better for kids to go through them as it helps them grow. Although Nina and I never expected to raise children, we were fortunate to become Hannah and Chloe's parents. Now, we get to celebrate our daughter's wedding. There's no greater joy than this. When I noticed some commotion outside the venue, I decided to check it out. There was a flashy-looking woman who appeared to be around our age. As I stood there, stunned, Hannah approached in her wedding dress. Is that Hannah? You got married. Congratulations. I'm so happy. Why didn't you invite me? I heard about it and came. Let me in. Please leave. What? What are you saying? How can you talk like that to the mother who gave birth to you? It's simple. We didn't invite you. Also, I only have one mom in this world, and that's Nina. My biological mother no longer exists to me. You're being ridiculous. The birth mother is more important. What are you talking about? To me, Nina is more important. You didn't even show up for the adoption process and handled everything through a representative. That means we didn't matter to you. I had no choice back then. The man I was with said kids were a nuisance, so I couldn't come. Please forgive me and let me in. No, you need to leave now. If you cause any more trouble, I'll call the police. Her biological mother started to scream incoherently and caused a scene. She was finally escorted out by security. Apparently, she had heard rumors about Hannah's wedding and decided to show up, but it was too late to play the mother now. For Hannah and Chloe, she had abandoned them. She had been traveling with a male entertainer when she left them at the airport. Telling young children to wait at the airport while she went on a trip was inexcusable, and she wasn't fit to be a parent. Hannah wouldn't have been happy to see her at the wedding anyway. The wedding ceremony continued. When it was Hannah's turn to speak, Nina and I felt nervous. For certain reasons, I was taken in and raised by my current parents. The most important people in my life are my parents who raised me. And my twin sister, Chloe. Dad, thank you for always taking care of us at home. Mom, thank you for taking us places despite your busy schedule. I will be happy with my husband from now on. Please watch over us. Oh, Hannah, you've grown up so well. Mom, Dad, thank you for everything. I'll try to repay you little by little from now on. And to my dear sister Chloe, please continue to support me as always. Sis. She's really grown up. Yes. I never thought this day would come. It was all worth it. Kids are truly the best. Nina was beside me, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, crying. She always wanted children, and even though they weren't her biological children, seeing them grow up so well made her incredibly happy. I was equally happy to see Hannah become such a fine person. She was always responsible but also a bit mischievous, so I had been slightly worried. Hannah's wedding went smoothly, and she enjoyed the reception with her friends. She returned home exhausted, but I'm glad to see that she has created such a wonderful memory. Hannah moved out to live with her husband, Sean, in an apartment nearby. It was close enough for us to visit if needed. 6 months later, Hannah announced that she was pregnant. We were going to become grandparents. Time really does fly by. After hearing the news, I visited Hannah and Chloe's grandparents' grave. They had passed away, but I wanted to tell them that Hannah had grown up well and was expecting a child. Hannah gave birth to healthy twins, a boy and a girl. They were fraternal twins, so they didn't look alike, but they were both adorable. People say that grandchildren are special, and they truly are. I've been completely smitten with my grandchildren, wanting to buy them everything, and getting scolded by Hannah for it. She told me that spoiling them too much would lead to them becoming irresponsible adults, so I shouldn't buy so many toys. I realized I needed to curb my tendency to spoil them out of love. Meanwhile, Chloe, who just secured a job, is very enthusiastic. Chloe has become a flight attendant for the airline where my wife works. She studied some foreign languages in college and even went abroad, so she's quite proficient in it. She's always said she wanted to be a flight attendant like her mother. Although Hannah and Chloe look very similar, Chloe is slightly slimmer and taller. Being identical twins, they didn't end up looking exactly the same. Appearance is important for a flight attendant, which probably helped Chloe pass the recruitment exam. Chloe admired Nina's uniform and demeanor when we first met at the airport, which inspired her to pursue this career. When she passed the exam, she was overjoyed. I'll work hard to become a strong woman like you, Mom. I need to earn the trust of the passengers. Chloe, just because you're my daughter doesn't mean I'll go easy on you. Wow, the tough instructor. Mom, I heard from my seniors during orientation that you're feared by everyone. They said not to make you angry because you're a demon. Being called a demon instructor is so rude. I'm not that scary. You are. You always turn bright red when you're mad. How rude. Now get ready. Let's go to work. Yes, ma'am. Nina is Chloe's training instructor. Though she seems gentle, she's known as a tough instructor at work. Given the responsibility of ensuring passenger safety, there's no room for complacency. No matter how hard or difficult. No complaints are allowed in the world of flight attendants. Nowadays, we are leading a very happy life. But we've had our tough times. There were moments of conflict when I thought maybe we couldn't make it as a family because we weren't biologically related. But what truly defines a family? Is it just blood relations? Can Hannah and Chloe's biological parents, who abandoned them, be considered true parents? No, they can't. A parent who can abandon their young children isn't even human. I am not like that, and I've loved Hannah and Chloe with all my heart. I want Hannah and Chloe to be even happier from now on. That's our only wish.